2 years ago, Hostshare flipped the short-term rental industry upside down by unlocking something hosts never valued before. Vacant nights. Nights sitting empty. Nights losing money. Nights we turned into opportunity. This dream quickly became a reality. Then this reality unlocked a freedom for hosts to travel like never before. Now, Hostshare is an entire movement of hosts around the globe. But we all wanted more freedom. The freedom to book in advance. The freedom to travel not just last minute. But with that freedom, we acknowledge the risk. The risk of losing revenue and giving up peak season nights. But we also believed there must be a way. So we slowed down. We debated. We planned. We went back to the drawing board again and again until we knew we had it right. And now, thanks to AI, the impossible is possible. Introducing Hostshare Advanced. Book up to 6 months in advance, while your most valuable nights and peak seasons are automatically protected. More freedom for travelers, zero compromise for hosts. Hostshare Advanced is now live. Opt in, book in advance boldly, and have peace of mind that your most valued nights and peak seasons are protected.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Yo.
Thanks for joining us. Gosh, we have like 3 times as many people here that actually registered for this, so that's a really good sign. I think there's a lot of interest into what we've been building over the last year, and we are super excited to talk about it and answer questions that you guys have. Um, we've been so excited this last year just to get it built and get it out there. But it's been really cool to see all the questions out there on the internet and questions coming in. And so we thought, let's put together a webinar, let people come in here, ask questions, and we can discuss this. We want to keep this under an hour, but there will be a lot of time for Q&A. So if you have any questions at all, please use either the chat or the Q&A button in the Zoom webinar. It should be on the bottom of your screen, depending on what kind of device you're on. But please ask away, and then we will do our best to answer all of them. We're going to touch on a couple things, just kind of give a quick overview of what Hostshare Advanced really is, how it's different than what you know Hostshare today with last minute travel, how it differs. We're going to do a quick demo of what's live now and what's going live tomorrow with the travel. And then, but Landon, do you want to kick us off and just kind of talk about just kind of the heart behind Hostshare Advanced, why we spent the last year developing this and designing it and really kind of debating,
Yeah,
trying to figure out how to make this the best thing we can make it.
yeah. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for letting me share a little bit about this. This is an interesting thing to start off. The initial inspiration for HostShare, a lot of it came from just like watching our ADUs that we have as Airbnbs on our property sit empty some nights, and thinking, man, it'd be great if there was a way for us to put those to use in some way. And so, HostShare as a concept really was last minute, like as part of its DNA. And that really works for people like me. I was into couch surfing. I was into Airbnb early on, and even home exchange, trying to use that with our Airbnb, and just ran into a lot of you know technical stuff trying to use those reliably for exchanging. And so, but again, you kind of have this issue of the you don't want to lose revenue, and so it's this really challenging problem to kind of solve. And so the focus, obviously, and where we built it was 5 days, thinking, well, if it's not booked in the next 5 days, there's probably a decent chance, a high probability it's not going to get booked. But that works for some people. It works for people like me. But there's even, I would say, half of our team, it doesn't really work for. Like, even internally, like a lot of us need to plan in advance and need to have kids pull out of school or do, different, time off work and different things. That last minute just really was not serving a decent portion of our members. And and so we started to try to solve that problem about a year ago, maybe a little bit over that. And we spent so much time. You probably saw some announcements or us talking about this in the summer, and I would say even then we were still having going back to the drawing board on things because we'd come up against a wall and realize, man, this just is not going to work in these situations. And so a lot of this, the deliberation that went into this was a painful, but really, I think all of us now are really excited about it. Which when you check all those boxes and you get everybody who's finally excited about it, then you really feel like this is going to work for people. And so I'm excited. Even just before this meeting, we were just starting to get the final deployments ready uh, for traveling and whatnot. A lot of you guys have probably already been through the onboarding, but it's interesting to start to see that all the pieces come together even right before this, and just realizing what a change it's going to be for us. Like personally, as my family traveling, but then I hope for the thousands of people who are traveling with HostShare that it's going to be something that just um, opens up the horizons on where you can go and what you can do. And international, I think, makes a lot more sense with advanced bookings and so many other ways that you can use HostShare um, in the next, very very soon to do trips that would have been tough before, like booking anything with a flight. We've heard a lot of people talk about, that being a challenge, and so anyways, it's exciting, and also just the buy-in that we've had the last month or so since we opened up onboarding really shows, I think, that people were needing this, and so we're excited to see that working. So that's pretty much. I hope that gives some context. I don't know if I missed anything with that, Mike, but
No, that was great. Yeah, thank you for that. Um, one thing I will mention too, I don't know if I mentioned this at the start, but so we have entered into beta with Hostshare Advanced, and the cutoff for beta actually ends tonight at midnight, and so that's part of the reason why we're like, oh, let's do this, before the cutoff ends, because for people that maybe are on the fence about it, hopefully we can answer those questions for you and bring clarity, and bring some inspiration to you to join. So if you want to join the beta, it's cutoffs tonight. Travel goes live tomorrow, which means you can actually start booking stuff up to 6 months in advance. And then beta will be off. Will basically be you won't be able to opt into beta until early 2026. It's looking like so. Highly recommend getting in tonight if you are willing. So, Kennedy, do you want to kind of give us an overview and kind of a comparison of what we know HostShare for the last 2 years versus now what HostShare has to offer?
Yeah. So here's a chart on the screen here that you should be able to see. So this is just a really high level overview. As Devin walks you through the whole flow here shortly, we'll go into more depth on some of these points. So basically what you've known with the booking window with HostShare last minute, that's bookings happen within the next 5 days. So really utilizing those last minute nights. But with HostShare Advance, that window now opens up from 5 days to 6 months in advance, just allowing you more freedom and more time to plan your trips. And then opting in, so host share last minute, that's everyone by default. Anyone on the platform is going to be sharing last minute nights, but advanced specifically is completely optional. So you can stick with last minute or you can do a hybrid of the two. Blockout days, no blockout days comes with the last minute feature, but with HostShare Advanced specifically, we give you 120 to 270 blockout days, and that is dependent on what your average nightly rate is for your home. And just want to touch on that really quick, as this has been, HostShare Advance in general has been our most requested feature. Blockout nights has been second to that feature. So we're really excited to be able to roll HostShare Advance with the blockout nights with it. It's a really important aspect here. So as a host, we have that host first mentality with every decision that we make. With those blockout nights, you can still protect your high revenue nights throughout the year. And then booking duration, so HostShare last minute up to 5 days. Now with HostShare Advance, those bookings can be up to 7 days. And then the cost, last minute is included with subscription. So cleaning fee, processing, and protection fee, as you all know. With HostShare Advance, it's included with your subscription, so there's no cost to upgrade your membership. And this will go into more detail here in a minute too. But with that, there's the cleaning fee, processing and protection fee, and then there is a 12% savings fee on those bookings, which we'll go into more here shortly. But yeah, excited to roll this out. Michael, did I miss anything here?
Awesome. Thank you. No, I think you covered it well. Sean, did you have anything to add to this up to this point? I know you're usually kind of like a catch-all idea guy.
No, not at this point, but I will say that just as we're in this beta phase, it we take everyone's participation and like what you guys say, your feedback, like super seriously. So like while we're in this, we're going to be able to change things. We're pivoting. There might be adjustments on several things, and so so of course this beta phase is a beta, and so yeah, all your input is going to be really really weighed heavily. So
Yeah, and one thing too, I've heard people ask, at least early on when we launched the beta, was how many people are where can I travel to? How widespread is this? Because we don't have that live yet. That goes live tomorrow. All that stuff you get to see. But actually, it's been pretty mind blowing how much the adoption rate has been for this, just especially being beta and not even being able to travel yet until tomorrow. So about a third of our listings, of all the Hostshare listings have already opted in, and set blockout dates and everything for their advanced Hostshare Advanced listing. So really good adoption rate. We've been really honestly kind of blown away. So super stoked to see what happens tomorrow when booking goes live. Um, Sean, did you want to talk about back to what Kenny was talking about, the blockout dates and why there's a range there? Do you want to cover that a little bit?
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
the range of the blockout days. Oh,
Yeah,
you
the
mean like
120 to 270 blockout days. Why there's a range?
Sure. Yeah. So the reason for the range is that there's lots of different properties that vary a lot in their, in their average nightly rates on the platform. And so the lower nightly rate properties are less likely to get booked on average. If you were to look at our statistics, for nights that are booked on HostShare, the average property added has an average nightly rate of about $256. But the average stay that's happening, the average nightly savings is actually closer to $400. And so that tells us that these higher nightly rate properties are just more likely to be booked. And so with that, we wanted to make it something that, where those higher valued properties are able to have slightly more blockout days. To get to that higher end of 270, it really has to be in that, very luxury type properties. Um, but yeah, that's kind of how we solve for that problem of those properties getting snatched up really quickly.
Perfect. Awesome. Thanks, Sean. Devin, I know, we obviously the HostShare Advanced travel portion has not been released yet. That comes out tomorrow. So there's nothing even public out there about, how travel side works. And so the dev team, we asked them to kind of put together something real quick that we could share. I know, Devin, how are you ready to share? Are you able to show anything to us today?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right,
Here,
let's go.
here's the deal.
There's a delay there that
I
was
got a little
hard.
nervous. I was like, "Oh gosh, what's happening?" I was half
Yeah.
joking and half serious, and then I'm like, "Oh shoot, maybe I shouldn't have asked."
No, I'm
All
all
right.
good. Yeah. I
All right.
wanted to can you all see my screen now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so before I start, I if I start talking really loud, people tell me that I talk really loud when I get excited about things. So just let me know, raise your hand in the chat, whatever, because I'm super stoked. This has been something our dev team has been just heads down for months now, trying to get out the door. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through our onboarding for those of you who haven't gone through onboarding yet, just to see how that actually works and kind of touch on some of the specifics of the blockout dates and stuff like that. And then I'm going to show a quick preview of what booking is going to look like. So that's where we're going with this. So the way that we onboard, there's a couple of ways. If you have a live listing and you have a membership, now those are the two requirements to opt into advanced travel, is to have a live listing and a paid for membership. And if you don't, it'll prompt you to activate either of those things. But as soon as anytime you go into advanced and you don't have advanced activated or you haven't opted in yet, you'll see this button, or you'll see it on the top here. Just get started, and that will launch us into this onboarding screen. And there's 3 steps to this. You'll opt in, confirm your blockout dates. We use our system uses like wheelhouse data, and to get all of the market and booking rates and things like that. that really help us determine what we call a bookability score for your next basically year and a half of dates. And we predict basically which dates are most likely to be booked, and we show you that on the screen. And we use AI really to choose those dates, so it's really easy for you to go in and change things as you need. And that, like we said, we're in beta, and that's going to be improved as we get more and more usage on this over time. And then the last piece is just agreeing to the share pledge. Because we have it Hostshare Advanced, the share pledge still applies, but you only have to share the number of nights that you've agreed to when you joined. So everyone has a certain number of nights that they've agreed to get 21 nights in return to go travel. You can use those travel nights on Hostshare Advanced or on last minute, and that's basically at the end of this. So once we join, we see a listing that we have live. This is all this is just test data that is just for the demo. So what you can see, like this one, this is a relatively expensive property, 753 a night. It's already shared 2 nights, so they have 7 nights left of their 9. And then there's 223 blockout dates that they've been awarded. So I go ahead and opt in, and all this does is it starts the optimization for blockout days. And this will take just about a minute to finish up. But what this is doing is it's, like I said, taking the highest bookable nights and it's automatically blocking them. The other piece of advanced travel that we have blockout days is we also wanted to make it usable enough for our platform. And so we have this minimum availability gaps that have to be at least 7 days. And that's where Kennedy mentioned it. We're opening up to 7 days of travel for advanced. So this is how this works here. So because we're coming up to the end of December, we basically have the end of the year to block out. And there's a prorated portion of blockout days based on the remainder of the year. And we also at the end of the year, we also are like upping the amount of blockout days. If you have more blockout days or more higher scores, like this example, a lot of these are over 70. They're high bookability scores. And so we automatically give you more nights to be able to block those as we near the end of the year. Now, if I look at 2026, you can see the blockout days are chosen for the ones that are actually already reserved and the ones that are AI chosen already. So what I can do if I want to change this, I can click this off and choose another date. I'm going to leave it there for now. If I also choose a date in the middle of this to take it off, I have a gap error. So we're trying to eliminate these small gaps so like users can actually book a bigger stay. But for the most part, this is really blocking out all of the peak season in the summer, and then really the holidays outside of that. So we can get more into that as we need in the Q&A. One thing to note though is there are 7 nights left to share. So you set your blockout dates, but this place will only be booked 7 more nights up until November 17th, 2026. So at that time, 2026 in November, that will be re-upped. And what will happen is any nights that are booked when we get within the 6-month window of our booking window and we're into past November, if that gets booked there, that's going to apply to your next year's share pledge contract. So as we go from there, we click confirm blockouts. And now there's this last piece here, which is an agreement here. So these are all things that I mentioned, but advanced travel, book up to 6 nights in advance. There is a grace period to test out advanced travel. So this is slightly different during beta, but as you opt in, there's a 7-day grace period to be able to, if you don't want to use it, you can opt out, or you can adjust all your blockout days after that 7-day grace period. There's any dates 90 plus out, you can always adjust the blockouts, but anything within 90 days is set. Basically, we're agreeing to continuing to share during your share time on Hostshare. During beta, because we're starting this here, we're allowing you to adjust your blockout dates as much as we can as things go out. But there is no opting out allowed until after the beta period's over, which Michael said probably early 2026. So we got about a really good month here or so that we're going to test this out, get a lot of users onboarded, make changes that we need to make, and move from there. Once you agree to this, now you're ready to go and set up for advanced travel. Okay, you're all set. This just explains that we're in the beta period right now. Now, tomorrow, the way this is going to work, now that I'm opted in from travel, you're going to see new tab, and now you're going to see this booking. It's very similar to what you would see on Airbnb or anything like that, but there's two ways you can book, either flexible or using exact dates. If I go flexible, I can choose, show me any available within the next, 3 months, and I want to book that. You can choose the number of nights you want to stay, and it uses that. What I'm going to do is an exact date here because I have a trip planned next month, and I'm going to go and choose this week, and I'm going to hit next and add my family. Go here. So if you notice, there's a slight differences from what we see from last minute. Few things. One, you're going to see this purple gradient everywhere. Everywhere there's advanced, it's like this new branded term and way that we notify like, hey, you're on advanced. So there's two very different ways of traveling. One's advanced, one last minute. Right now I'm in advanced mode. And what you'll notice too is that I'm here and I'm shown a total price. And this is total price minus the total savings. And so I'm going to book this cool place right here in Blumpville, Tennessee. This place looks so awesome. It's called the Genesis. I know the owner of this place, and it's sick.
I
Not
get Deb,
just
you should note too that this is everything you're showing right here is on a staging. So there's quite a few more properties than what you just saw there on the map. This is just a demo environment. So
This is all demo, yeah. All the properties, you'll see a lot more on there, right there. But this is what we
great
have for the
property,
demo.
by the way.
Great property. I haven't stayed in this one, but a different one anyway. Like I said, what you're going to see is a new booking card too. You're going to see the total price, similar to what you see on Airbnb, what you're actually saving compared to Airbnb. You can click here to see the price breakdown for the fees and whatnot, and then we'll go ahead and book. Go here and book. This sounds awesome. I'm going to save a bunch of money. We're going to test and go ahead and book. Once we finally book, then we have a place set up for in January that I'm going to go to. It's past 5 days. One thing I will note here too is once this finishes up is the cancellation policy. So we have two different cancellation policies now. One's going to be for last minute only, which is within 12 hours. See if I have it here yet. If I go back to a listing real quick and show you the policy here. If I go to this listing here, scroll down, cancellation policy. So with this policy, there's a new one for advanced travel. So we have a 48-hour window where there's a full refund granted. Now, if this is booked within 60 days or past 60 days of check-in, we do offer a partial refund, and everything will be refunded except the service fees that are charged. So cleaning fees will be refunded, and any free nights that you use will be refunded. This is a partial refund. Once we get into this 60-day threshold, and these are things that we will make adjustments to if we get feedback and be like, hey, this needs a change or whatever it is. But this 60 days, why we chose 60 is because when we make a booking on Hostshare, we're taking up nights from a host's property. And let's say if you did cancel within 60 days or outside of 60 days, then we foresee that it's probably more likely the user can get those nights booked on another platform, even though you've been booked for it for a certain amount of time. So that's why this is change for advanced travel as compared to last minute travel where our cancellation policy is 12 hours and it's last minute. So those are that's pretty much the demo.
Awesome.
Nice.
Cool,
Thank you,
cool.
Devin.
Nice work.
Yeah.
Yep. Um, a couple things. Does anyone have on the team have anything to say about the demo before I move on? Any additions, thoughts? All right. Um, a couple things I saw in the chat here that I just wanted to talk about real quick. A few people asked about are we expanding globally? So high. This is we're definitely it's high on the priority list to expand globally. That is something we actually were planning on doing that this year. But what happened was we realized once we thought up the idea of Hostshare Advanced, we realized, gosh, if we can launch Hostshare Advanced first, that gives us such a better we call it the gateway to the world. It's like now we can actually expand globally, and it makes so much more sense for people to that are already in the HostShare network to be able to travel globally because now they can book stuff up to 6 months in advance. Where with last minute, it makes it really hard to go travel to like if you're in the U.S., you want to travel to Europe, that's really difficult to pull off. So this changed priorities. Once we feel like we cracked the code on HostShare Advanced, it was like, all right, we're going to push the expansions outside the U.S. and really North America out into 2026. So high on the priority list, but hopefully that brings some clarity to that. Um, was there any? I know there's been a lot of questions that have come in that have been answered, which is great. Thanks to the team for answering this stuff. Let's see, we've got a handful of open questions here. Faith, did you have anything that was made sense to bring up right now, or I haven't seen the open ones yet?
We have had a couple questions on users with seasonality. Say they have a listing that is closed for a couple months a year. That's something that we're still working through as a team, still figuring out, but we're hoping to make improvements there for those of you that have more seasonal listings and maybe the blockout days don't cover that. So in time, that will hopefully be something that comes.
Yeah, it makes sense. I saw somebody asked too about they were maybe hesitant about being able to accept a booking 6 months in advance. So just so everyone's clear too, this is an opt-in feature, so it's optional. HostShare Advance is completely optional, and you can opt in if you want. If you don't opt in, you can continue to use HostShare for last minute like it's always been. So if you opt into it, that allows you to travel in advance up to 6 months, but you're also allowing people to book your place up to 6 months. If you don't opt in, it's all still within that 5 day window going both ways. So
One other thing I'm seeing here is the blockout days. The blockout days, just for clarity, are only applied to advanced travel. So for last minute, those blockout days do not apply to last minute travel. So I think Drew asked the question, do they hurt last minute? And no, they don't. So they're only applied to advanced.
Good point.
Yep. Let's see. Anyone else? Trying to read through these.
Somebody asked if basically I have regular Hostshare now and I have 21 days left. I think we've kind of touched on this, but just to say one more time in case it wasn't clear, those 21 nights that you have when you sign up can be used if you opt into advanced for advanced bookings. Those are the same currency, so to speak.
I
There's a
thought, oh, go ahead, Sean.
I was just going to say there's a question about, most weekends at some people's properties are booked. And the question is if you can block out all of your weekends. And the answer to that, I guess, straight is no. Um, because you have to have a 7 day period between your bookings. And so you could essentially do every other, weekend if that was the way you wanted to do it. But most of the time, you'll want to probably block those in larger portions of the year. So, whether that's
Your
4 or
peak
5 months,
season.
your peak season will be the most effective way to do that. And then those off weekends that are popular in your area.
There's another question here about beta. Um, Mark asked about being on beta for a couple of weeks. Yeah, so we released this onboarding about 2 weeks ago now. It was intentional. Their onboarding period has just been 2 weeks because we're trying to get a lot of users on board so that when we do launch travel, there's availability. And so if you're at the end of the screen, it says you're in beta, you're all set, you're good to go. That means tomorrow when we do launch booking, you'll be able to book it. Go ahead and make a booking as soon as that opens up. So we will announce that tomorrow, what time that is. You'll all get an email and notification. So
Perfect.
Let's see here.
if I'm understand, George asked, I have 250 blockout days from Hostshare. If people book 21 days far out on my listing, does that close the availability for the rest of the year? Fulfills my commitment? Yes. So your commitment of how many days you have to share is up until the contract date that you have. So I mentioned it during the blockouts. But if you're sharing 21 nights and you renew, at the end of next year, December, and you have all those days booked, then your place will no longer be booked once you fulfilled your nights, 21 that have been shared in advance.
One question that comes up quite a bit is how to know if they're opted in. Devin, what's the best way? Is it going to be on your profile? Just
Yeah,
next to
the
your
way the way you'll know is when you go to when you click the banner that says activate advanced travel, you'll show up at the last screen. It says you're in, you're all set. Um, and from there, that's gonna know that you're all the way in. Tomorrow, you're gonna have a little badge on your profile that shows it's a little purple gradient. It's like with an airplane on it, that shows you that you're in.
I saw someone ask, Jason asked, so they have an answer, but if you had to offer 6 days on your property to get 21 days, how's that offset? Would I be able to get 21 days at an equivalent STR as my own, or do the days get reduced? So everybody, for every listing you share, everyone's going to get 21 days, regardless of the value of property. But how it gets equalized to be fair across the board in the network is your share days. Like there, you said you had 6 days as your max of sharing. So you're getting 21 days, but once you hit 6 days, your listing is no longer shared until the next year rolls around. So no, you would get full 21 days regardless of the value of the listing. So, and I saw someone else ask about the which you got answered earlier, but I'll just talk about it real quick again. I don't know where I saw it, but someone asked about the blockout days between 120 to 270 blockout days and how does that work? It's really all based on your average nightly rate, how valuable your property is, and you'll get more depending on how valuable it is.
Cool, cool.
We've had a few users asking about editing blockout dates and that they can't go back in at this moment. Devin, do you want to just touch on that and how that will be fixed here soon?
Yeah. Yeah, there's a couple known issues with editing that we will be resolving here within the next week. So just know that that's gonna be fixed and you'll be able to edit soon. Um, right after we've got booking all dialed in, then you'll be able to go in and edit as you need.
One thing worth noting on that too is the AI. I've personally been super impressed with how well it's done, and we were just looking at the numbers earlier today as a team, and I believe it was 2/3 of everyone that's opted in just didn't even make a change. They just accepted the AI suggestions and opted in. And that's how I was too. It was like, wow, that's every time I've looked at the number or the calendar for my listings, it's been extremely accurate to actual real events coming up in my area, historical stuff, holidays. It's done a really good job of scoring my nights based on their value. Is there a way to sort
There,
based on?
if there, one thing to mention about the edits, if you have not fully opted in yet, and there are issues that you're having with the edits, because there's some bugs with the not allowing you to actually um, block next to a reservation or something like that. Uh, we will hold your place for beta as long as we know. You just got to contact support and say, hey, I'm having an issue here, and we'll go through and make sure all of those issues are fixed for the listings, and then you'll be opted in. So the deadline to opt in is tonight at midnight. But those of you who are having issues, make sure to contact support.
Is it
That we
midnight Eastern time?
Midnight Pacific time.
Okay, midnight Pacific time. There we go. Devin, somebody asked, I think this would be a good question. The blockout days or the blockout dates, are they by calendar year or by subscription year? Like if I started in July.
They're by calendar year. Yep. Someone also asked, are the blockout days mean those are dates that people can book or days they cannot book? Those means days people cannot book blockouts.
Sharon asked if there'll be eventually be an additional membership fee for advanced, and there's no plans to
No,
have an additional fee for that. So
no additional.
it's part of your membership.
We also have Mitch that asked if I use all 21 days, is there a way to contribute more days at my condo to get 21 more?
Yes,
I
coming
think
soon.
Yeah, great question. Coming soon.
Yes.
yeah.
Coming soon. We will have hopefully in the future a way to have like optional share nights where you can share more than your commitment. We also have other pieces of that in the works too about potentially, getting credits for nights when you share and things like that. So we're working toward those pieces as well as we come. Does or was it? How do you stop scammers from creating a fake site listing? You want to answer that one, Faith?
Yeah, so we manually verify every listing that comes in. Users have a couple ways to add their listing, but when you add your listing, um, you either have to directly log into Airbnb, and so you have to have your login to your Airbnb to grab the listing, or you have to provide the URL. In that case, the host would have to provide proof that they are the owner, whether that's a mortgage statement with their name on it. There's also ID verification. So we verify that the name matches what your account says. So lots of different steps there to make sure that also calendar has to match completely accurately. So lots of different steps to verify that we don't have scammers coming on.
Uh, we also have a question here from Lacey, I think would be important. I've seen a couple comments on people having new listings that they just recently added to Airbnb. So she said, thanks for the response on no blockout days. We are a new listing, and right now we are pricing very economically to get bookings and reviews. I expect my rate to go up significantly over the next year. Do you get more blockout days throughout the year, or once they're set here in onboarding, that's it?
So you don't get more blackout dates throughout the year. However, when your listing comes up for renewal, for your membership, you can request a price change, or really at any point a price change based off of if we do have data that your listing is more expensive over the last year. So, and you can do that anytime right now if you contact support and over the last year your listings have price has changed, you can contact support to update your average nightly rate and we'll adjust that.
Allison asked the question about is advanced travel only open to on other properties that have opted in, or can we now do advanced bookings to all HostShare properties? And so it's just going to be on the properties that opted in. So it's not going to be on the people that want to stay last minute and not to take those in advance bookings can just stay as is. But this is for all the people that would like to participate in the advanced feature.
Choose your own adventure.
Yeah. Let's see.
With advance, is there a way to communicate with the host with questions before confirming?
There it's the same way as last minute, and this is one thing that we wanted to make sure is um is set up this way on purpose is that this is an instant book. This is one of the biggest like things that we debated for a while about how to open up in advance is we want HostShare to always be a place where that the booking actually works. And so that's we're having people set blockout days and commit to a certain number of nights so that when you do make a booking, we can be confident that that booking is going to work. So there's no way to do that right now to contact the user, and we actually don't want to really have a way to bother users, especially hosts, that if they've already set it up in HostShare, then we can assume that that's the way it's supposed to be set, rather than asking for extra things. We don't want to be more of a burden to hosts who are trying to make money from their listing. So.
Devin, Erica Bloom asked, how and where can I tell how many blockout dates I was allowed? If they've already opted in, can they still see how many blockout dates they were allowed?
Um, I don't think you can tell right now, but you'll be able to do this tomorrow. You'll be able to see. You can also contact support for your specific listing.
A couple of people have asked about just reviews and does it work like, are we going to do that anytime soon? That's definitely something we intend to do in the future. So people who are wondering about, you know, user experience and trust and all of that stuff, that's definitely in the cards for probably next year. So, um, yeah.
Yeah, but the guests are treated like regular guests. They will leave reviews. Airbnb is automatically blocked. All that's set up. Emily is asking all that. Um,
Faith, do you want to talk about Lauren asked, I've only ever hosted, never traveled. Does a host get docked in some way if they cancel a booking last minute? So if the host cancels the booking on a traveler, what's the penalty and process?
For last minute, if you cancel a booking, you're automatically removed from the platform. It's just for reliability, knowing that, we want members to know that when they make a booking, it will be honored. And so when you do agree to the share pledge, that's a big part of that, honoring bookings, especially if dates are open on Airbnb. If there's a calendar issue or some emergency, there's a little bit of leniency there. I mean, we do verify every issue, but yes, you technically are not allowed to stay a part of the platform if you cancel a booking.
One thing
yeah.
on that note too, Drew also mentioned here, he asked, do we think that the pledge acceptance rate will be higher or lower with the advanced feature? And
It sounds
you
like an
know,
experienced traveler right there.
yeah,
Number
there's a
one
couple.
traveler last year, right? On the platform. What's
That's
up,
of
Drew?
course, yeah. That's of course like the most pivotal thing and the problem that HostShare just constantly is needing to get better at, whether that's bringing in reviews, really vetting hosts well. Of course, early on, this was much more difficult because we were trying to create a network effect and we had to get people on that weren't as serious. And so the one thing that I will say, I think that we continue to vet this out, and as people understand HostShare better, that it just continually gets like better and better. Like every single month, it literally like multiple percentages better on that front. But when it comes to advanced compared to last minute, is that it doesn't even though there might still be some of this pledge ducking activity, it's way more stressful when it's last minute. And so there's a lot more options when, if you're 3 months out, you book a stay and it's denied and that person ends up being delisted from our platform or whatever it might be. There's going to be more options, to figure that out. It's a lot more stressful when it's last minute. And I think that also just makes the experience a lot more just stressful and worse. And so even though it will still happen in advance, I think it will become less and less over time on both last minute and advance, but advance should be less stressful. So
Yeah. Yeah, really good. One thing I wanted to mention too, just in general, as we roll out advanced, HostShare Advanced, our core like principle of using your unbooked nights, that is still like very, very core to this whole thing. Before it was only unbooked nights within the last 5 days. Now it's like our hosts should know, and we see the stats. It's like 50% of the time an Airbnb or a short-term rental is vacant, and so wanting to use those nights in return. And so that's why we've opened up advanced and make sure that you can block out your most valuable nights. That way you're not giving those away for free. So that's like this is core to HostShare Advanced. Like we want the hosts to enjoy it and travel, but also have their places blocked out as much as they can for how they can make money. So that's still really core to what Hostshare is, and so that's why we're really excited about this because we think it hits both. So
Uh, a couple things here. First, just wanted to highlight Drew's comment. I really appreciated reading it. He said, I literally sell my STRs if it wasn't for this platform. You guys honestly rock. My wife and my two little girls couldn't be more grateful. Just thought that was
Thanks, Drew.
that's cool.
and then Mitch Conrad had a really good question. If I make an advanced booking, is there a risk that the host will not renew their subscription and my booking could be dropped?
Yep, there is risk in that. However, we do have plans for ways to mitigate that, especially as we come out with ways, what I was talking about before, about how when bookings are made, there's reciprocated nights. We're also considering ways that we can share the service fees to pay for a membership. These type of things are in the works, but as we're right now in beta, like that's just what it is. And then as we come out with this more and add more features to this, hopefully we mitigate that piece. But that's probably one of the one of the things that we has really been going through our mind of how to mitigate that the most. So. The idea is if a user's been using Hostshare Advanced and is already saving thousands of dollars throughout the year, that they're most likely going to stay on board in that way anyway. So I don't know if you guys want to add anything to that.
Kind of
No,
comes
That was
back to
good.
what Sean said too about just as people have come to understand how Hostshare works, it takes a little bit of a learning curve initially, but now a lot of people are coming on Hostshare are getting referred by somebody who's done it and can explain how it works. And so there's some just tribal knowledge that's I think happening, and I think the same thing happens with advanced travel. Like once you start using it, your incentive will be pretty strong to remain a positive host on Hostshare so that your access to it isn't jeopardized in the future because there's a lot of value to it. So I guess that's another part of it.
This is random, but Priscilla asked, are most of you siblings? And I thought it would be kind of fun to give some clarity there. So Michael is my brother. Landon is my husband. Sean and Faith, brother and sister-in-law. He's basically part of the family.
So Sean and Faith are married.
Yep.
Kennedy and Landon are married. Kennedy's
Me
my
and Michael are
sister.
married.
Devin and Michael are married.
And our brothers.
Yeah, Sean and Landon are
Landon
brothers.
are brothers, yeah.
I'm pointing over there, but it's really over there, depending on how you're looking at
I am not related to anybody here by
And he
blood.
has to live with that every day.
Devin brings the balance here.
it. Devin and I have been in business together for, I don't know, like 12 years or something. So
Yeah.
yeah. This is actually a really good question by Anthony. When you're running through the demo, it looked like there were no refunds or for cancellations within 60 days of the booked stay. So what's the incentive for canceling at all? That's actually a really good question. And we're in beta, and there's going to be changes being made and tweaks, and as we learn, and actually, that's actually really good feedback. I don't know if anyone has a good answer for that, but I think that's actually a really good question that I don't have a good answer for.
You mean if we're in 60 days, there's no incentive to cancel for the host?
If they're not going to be able to,
Okay.
if a traveling host on host shares is at 50 days before their stay and they realize they can't go, what's the incentive to even cancel and open those dates up for that host?
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, there is
It's a really good question.
makes sense.
Yep. I think we'll
Yeah,
have
I
to.
think
I think we should hit the drawing board on that some more and go deeper on that. That's a good question. Thanks for asking that. Because that's one of the things we haven't even mentioned on this, which it's every conversation we've had about Hostshare Advanced and every feature and every meeting we have, try and run everything through a filter of our biggest value and it's host first. And so with that host first mentality, it's the last thing we want to do, and we're all hosts here. The last thing we want to do is take away revenue, right? We don't want to take away our revenue from our short-term rentals. And so that's a
I
really
mean,
good question because
in theory, like the idea is Hostshare Advance is blocking out the revenue nights, and so the chances of those getting booked would have been low. And
yeah,
so so leaving them on the platform, maybe could have
it's
been.
yeah, it's still a good question though, and something we can dive into more as we really iron a lot of this out. Let's see. What are we doing on time? Got a few minutes left. Allison, we answered that question about advanced travel. It's just if you opt in, you can travel that way. If you don't opt in, it's just last minute. Goes both ways.
I'm just curious, out of people that are on here right now, I would love to see like in the chat box, where I guess where you're coming from, and then I guess two, say yes or no if like Hostshare Advanced is something you're already opted in for or like excited about. I'd love to
I just
see.
changed it to the chat so attendees can chat with everyone. I just opened that up, by the way.
Oh,
I
heck
realized
yeah.
that was
Oh,
just being
heck
sent
yeah.
to us on the chat side.
Oh, gotcha. Sweet. All right, Raleigh, North Carolina.
Carolyn.
Yeah, and
Nice.
also just how soon you expect to make your first booking is kind of an interesting thing. I'd love to hear, like, do you think you'll be using it, assuming there's places to go, which there are, I can assure you. Um, yeah,
I'm
just
hoping to make a booking tomorrow. That's my plan.
Awesome. You are, Mike?
Yeah, yeah. I would love to get something in Florida this winter. Um,
sick.
so with my family, we try and do that every year. And we've been able to do last minute so far every year with HostShare, but it would be cool. We've got parents are coming in town. It'd be cool to be able to get something that we can all go to as a family.
One thing too that's interesting about this format, it's so fun, at least for me, and I'm sure you guys all feel the same, but just to get to know more people who are using this on a regular basis. We've talked in the past about doing a live event sometime. Um, I'd be curious if anybody would be interested in meeting up at some point, doing a meetup maybe in 2026.
Yeah,
Uh,
that'd be cool.
Yeah, let's roll.
Yeah,
Yeah,
guys.
I love it. I love it. It's so cool because it's really the hosts that make this platform even work. And just to see, I think that was such a good call out, Sean, just to get everyone see who's doing it because yeah, that's the only way HostShare works is people actually opt in and want to do it too. So
Yep.
I'm excited.
Yeah, the feedback is so valuable.
Yeah, none of this would be possible if it wasn't for all the hosts that are involved so far. So
it's cool. Jerica says, I was hesitant to opt in, and this has addressed my concerns, and I'm opting in now. Cool. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be some learning curve for a lot of people learning how this works and getting comfortable. Hopefully, we did it. We covered the bases for you.
Lauren, Lauren said she's from DFW, Texas, already opted in, and as a single mom of two, this is really the only way we could use this and travel outside of Texas. So we're pumped. One more sleep. That again, just like HostShare in general, that's exactly what we're, our internal motto is, unreasonable freedom, for hosts um and that's that just hits it right on the head with just opening up the door for travel for next to nothing there. So that's awesome, Lauren.
Tina said, we just opted in. Super excited.
Michael, there's been a lot of questions on just the recording here, and if it's going to be
yeah.
it's recorded, I know. Are we going to send it out afterwards?
Yeah, so this is actually a really good plug for our Facebook group. If you're on Facebook, we've got a Facebook or a host share focus group on Facebook. Um, and every time we've done these, we've put them in there. So I would highly recommend. Actually, are you able to get like a link to that to throw in the chat maybe or something? Or is
Yeah,
that
I can do that.
I don't know how that works. I know
I
it's a
was
private group.
gonna queue up a email as well this
Okay.
week. So we'll do both. But
I
I'll
just know
get
there's been a lot of emails going out this week, but yeah, we'll get it definitely shared on there, and it sounds like we'll send an email as well. So
look for it on like a footer of one of the emails come in this week.
cool.
But I'll share the link here to the focus group.
Awesome.
Sweet. I guess we are right at an hour. Is there anything else you guys have before we jump off? What's your team?
I think just to continue the conversation too, and if you do join that group, continue to submit questions and comments there. We're pretty quick to respond in that group typically, and so we can just keep the conversation going. And
Yeah, especially tomorrow as you start making your first bookings, we'll be watching that closely. So
Yep.
let's know how it goes.
Yep. And just a reminder, people that came in late, tonight is the last night to opt into this. If you don't get in tonight, then it will not open back up until early 2026. And then travel launches tomorrow, so you'll be able to actually go book travel and have
Also,
major savings. So,
today's the last day at midnight for Black Friday sale for memberships.
yep, if you're not a member yet, yep.
If you have a friend who's not on yet, now's a pretty good time to get.
Yeah, there was, Melissa said, can we post about this to encourage more hosts to sign up, like on TikTok? I did throw in a link to our affiliate page there. This is something we've been working on rolling out, and we'll communicate more about it soon. But for anyone that is interested in that, check that link out so you can get a kickback for getting hosts to join if they subscribe.
And
Awesome.
another small
Yeah, go ahead.
plug too. If you're a property manager, you can email me too, because we have a way to work with you and your owners. You can email me at Sean@hostshare.co. That's SEAN.
Yeah, good call,
Hostshare.co.
Sean. Yep, great call on that. Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for joining. Team, well done. Tomorrow is going to be an epic day. Let's go.
Let's go.
Mike, thanks everyone.
What's that?
I said thanks, Mike, and
Oh
thanks
yeah.
everyone.
Yep. Thank you. All right. See y'all.
Thanks, everybody.
I'm out.
Bye.
Bye.